What is up, everybody? Stefan Rosny here, Stan Fisher over there, and this is the launch of the Elmonters, a podcast and community initiative that we'll be doing live shows with Islanders from here and now, things like that. But we want to talk about the event today, Stan. Islanders Rangers first meeting of the year, outdoors, MetLife Arena, 70,000 plus are going to be in attendance. Just what's your overall thoughts of this event?
Well, I have three quick questions for you. First of all, I need a show cause why the Islanders, with their shaky record against the Rangers, who've won 6 straight, can expect to win today. Give me a reason. Give me one good reason.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Islanders this is their 7th straight day on the ice, 6 straight days of practice. We won't include the outdoor one because that was only 15 minutes, but Patrick Waugh went back to fundamentals this week. He really harped on all the little details, opening up on the ice in transition, getting pucks in deep, everything they had to do, bag skated them as well. So if the Islanders are ever going to be ready for a game, it's this one today.
Who is the key Islander on defense? We know it's the goaltender, obviously, and the key Islander up front.
Yeah, for defense, I think it's going to go back to Noah Dobson. The way he's able to play defense this year, break out. I mean, the Rangers are a really fast team, but the best defense is offense. If Noah Dobson in transition can start leading the pack, that'll be key for them and for the Islanders. It's big game players showing up in big game moments. Matthew Barzal has done that under Patrick Waugh. There's no reason to think that Barzal, I think he's riding a 6-game point streak heading into this game. There's no reason to think that he can't show up. He loves these big moments, loves playing for Waugh, and he's been their best player since Waugh's arrival. So I got Dobson on the back end. Should have been an all-star and wasn't, and Matthew Barzal, who was their all-star.
What about Engvall? Where is he going to be playing, or is he going to be playing?
Yeah, after getting, Patrick Waugh really came after him at practice the other day, but Engvall will be on the second line. Anders Lee's going to be back on that top line. For Engvall, Waugh just needs to open up and play that simple game, going north-south. Don't overskate the puck. That was an issue of practice the other day. But Engvall will be in the top 6. Oliver Wahlstrom does stay in. Hudson Fasching, still day-to-day. He's available to play, but he's not going to play today. So the lineup, and then you have the fourth line, Martin, Cizikas, Clutterbuck, the fourth line that played together all the way back in 2014 when the Islanders played the Rangers outside of Yankee Stadium.
There are 2 guys I want to know. I'm going back to Engvall, who's been a big issue, and Wahlstrom. How does he get more hockey out of these guys today?
Yeah. For Wahlstrom, it's just you're going to either play and earn your minutes or you're not going to play. And for Wahlstrom, it's very simple for him. He has to just keep it simple. Sure, if he has a shot on goal, take it, but it's defensively getting the puck deep, making the simple play, not trying to do too much. But if there's a shot, show it off. Show that creativity. That's why he's in the lineup. And for Engvall, again, it's just north-south kind of player. You need him to go north. Once he starts going south, he gets into a lot of trouble. So for Waugh, for a lot of these guys, given their structure, the way they practice, make the simple play. Get the pucks in deep. They have the offensive talent when things are rolling. You spoke about the goaltending that they have, and they have the defense. But if once they start coming out of their structure, turning the puck over, things like that, that's when the Islanders are going to have issues. Because, again, this is a Rangers team who's going for 7 straight wins, top of the Metro, a very fast team. They'll take advantage of every mistake the Islanders make.
What about the fourth line? You got the identity line is going to be up against 3 guys who are giants. One guy is 6'8.5". The other guy's about 6'7" plus, and the little guy, the little guy is a joke. He's only 6'4". That's going to be tough. I don't know. Do you think the identity line still has the stuff? I don't know.
Well, if they wanted to make a statement to say they certainly still have the stuff, it's today. And again, we talked about it. This line played together in 2014. 3 of the 4 members of the Islanders that are back, Brock Nelson, the other one. But the identity lines looked a lot better under Waugh. Cizikas being back in the lineup after injuries provided a spark and energizer bunny mentality that line desperately needed when Cizikas was out. McLean did a great job, but tonight's a vintage night for those guys. And for the Islanders to have success, I think maybe they'll start the game. Who knows? Get on the forecheck early, get the hits early, and establish that immediately. Once that fourth line in the Islanders in general don't get to their game first, it's going to be a tough game. So allow that line to come out, lay a few bodies, a couple of hits off the bat, maybe a fight. Who knows? That'd be interesting to see Matt Martin fight someone in front of 70+ thousand people. But that line could be effective. It just has to be right from the get-go.
Okay. Do you think there is any way they can stop the big guns on the Rangers? Start with the bread man. I mean, this guy, how are they going to stop this guy?
Yeah, again, it's about staying to that structure. Once they get into trouble where bad line changes or in transition, turning the puck over, Panarin has the ability to burn you by scoring goals. He's shooting more than he's ever shot in his NHL career. That's because other teams are giving him the shooting lanes. The Islanders have to be aware of that. The other thing, too, is the power play. The Islanders' penalty kill has really struggled, even under Wild. The last couple of games, last game, they went 2 for 2 on the PK, won a huge one in overtime, but they haven't been great wise. And it's not the structure. The players seem to be in the right spots, just not executing lifting sticks. The Rangers have a pretty strong power play. Maybe it's not as great as it once was to start the year, but the Islanders have to stay out of the box. As Panarin and the rest of those guys will burn you if they have the man advantage.
Well, in order to stay out of the box, you got to be able to keep up with these guys. Do you think they're able to keep up with this fast Ranger team?
Yeah, you look at all 4 lines the Islanders have, whether it's Barzal on the top line, Engvall on the second line, Holmstrom can move a little bit on the third line. That's probably the slowest line. Then you have Zizekas on the fourth line. And you have mobile D. That's the other thing, too, is Romanov, Dobson are mobile. Pelech and Pulak have played a lot better since coming back from their injuries together. Then Riley and Mayfield. Riley is a guy that can move the puck. Every defense line has a fast guy and a slow guy, right? And when we say fast, Stan, we're talking about moving the puck fast, not always just physical speed. But the Islanders have the ability. The question is, after a week long of practicing 7 days straight on the ice, do they have the ability to be fresh and ready to go? Because, again, a lot of time between games, but did the practices tire them out, or are they more ready to go than the Rangers who played Thursday?
Well, if they're not motivated by 2 things, first of all, you're going to have a crowd that at least 72,000,
Yep.
maybe even more, and the fact that they're still in the playoff hunt, but not by a lot. They're behind, of course. Philly got beat last night at the Meadowlands, but I just don't know whether the IQ. You know what IQ means? It means intensity quotient.
Yep.
The intensity quotient seemed to be missing somewhat against Seattle. How can you not have that intensity now? I've written this. This is going to be a tremendous test of what this team has from here on in.
You look at that. Yeah.
Go ahead. The deal is if they win, there's a lot to be said. And if they lose, they're losing more ground.
You look at the game yesterday between the Devils and the Flyers, and if the Flyers would have won, the Devils would have been 10 points behind the Flyers. It would have been really hard to catch them for third in the division. It would be a wild card spot for the Islanders. They're at 57 points, and the Flyers are at 65. Now, the Flyers have a couple of games in hand, but the Islanders, again, losing a game today would be tough. 2 straight losses coming into the game. A third would be detrimental, especially if it's for the reasons like you said, competes a factor, things like that. But the Islanders are 5 points back of the second wild card spot as of today. So you make that 3 points back, you're still in it. But start losing games like this. Again, a week off. Waz said it perfectly. Waz said, we're not going to be perfect every night, but if we bring our compete and we bring our structure, we have a strong chance of winning all these games. That's the biggest key. If the Islanders can compete off the bat and get on the forecheck early and just put 100% effort into the game, they'll be able to compete with the Rangers. And again, it's every team. The Islanders too many times this year have not come out the way they need to come out, and it's led to losses. It led to getting on leads and then not coming out for the third period and blowing so many leads. So for tonight, the Islanders don't have to play a perfect game. They got to play as perfect a game as possible because this is a really strong Rangers team, full of momentum, a team that just dominates on the outdoor landscape here. And for the Islanders, again, having a break between games, they need to start getting points. Ryan Pulak spoke about that often. They need these points. These 2 points are much bigger for the Islanders than they are the Rangers. And we'll see today. We'll see right from the opening face-off if the Islanders are ready to go today.
We know that they need to win the game. We know that they need the effort. We know all that. What I question is the leadership. We got veterans on this team. There's no excuse at this point in the season to guys say, well, we got to look in a mirror, or we're happy with 1 point. That's no good anymore. Now, my question here is, has Anders Lee done a leadership job the way he's supposed to, wearing the C?
Yeah, I think it gets misconstrued about Lee's leadership. One, obviously, you and I aren't in the room, and after losses, they get to go in the room first for about 5 or so minutes, and then we go in after. So whatever has to be said is said there, and then maybe you get the cliche answers from Lee that the Islander fans don't want, which is fair. And then maybe Bo Horvat says something more leadership-worthy than what Anders said. But Anders has been a stand-up captain for this team. Does he have to step up in a game like this? Sure. He hasn't had points and goals in quite a while, where Bo Horvat's really shined on and off the ice, just the way he talks, being a former captain. I think Lee's done enough off the ice. But now it's time in a moment like this where you got to see a captain really step up, rally the troops. These are the kinds of games that define you as a leader. Yes, playoff games, sure. Yes, all those kinds of things. But a game that the Islanders have to have. Anders Lee better have a great speech going out there tonight to get these guys riled up, because that at the bottom line, that's his job, is to get the job done and get his team ready to go.
There's always the issue of puck possession, the issue of getting the puck out of their zone without being hemmed in. One of the first things that Patrick Roy said when he took over the team was that getting outshot. In the last game against Seattle, for crying out loud, Sorokin made some phenomenal saves, and he still wasn't able to win the game for them. And I have to wonder how Sorokin is going to be tonight. I mean, he's got to be at his best. And
Yeah.
I think there's, the issue tonight is going to be so. There are so many keys. Whether these guys are going to be tight, the old grabbing the stick thing, or whether Ra will get him, consistent. It's a lot's going to depend on the coaching as well. But I'm in the Harry Truman. I'm from Missouri. Show me. They've got to show me. I wanted them to show me against Seattle. They got a point. They couldn't win the shootout. But there's no more. This is like this game here. This outdoor game is like, it's either a dead end or it's a traffic circle. And
Yep.
if it's a traffic circle, they can go around and get on the right track and then go from there. So this is the biggest cliche of the evening or the daytime, and that is that this is their most important game of the season, and we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, you bring up goaltending. I just want to touch on goaltending really, really quick. Sorokin's been much better under Patrick Roy. But against the Rangers, he is 3-2-0 with career record with a 2.40 goals against average and a 926 save percentage. Pretty good numbers, right, Stan? And since Patrick Roy's arrived, by the way, Sorokin is 3-1-1 with a 1.98 goals average and a 936 save percentage. And then you look at Igor Shesterkin, who was better in his last start, but against the Islanders, 2-7-1 record, Stan, with a 3.13 goals against average and an 881 save percentage. So we talk about it a lot when it's in the playoffs or big games like this, where it's going to come down to goaltending. It's going to come down to which are the Russian netminders who are best friends, which one of them is going to come through with that big moment save. It doesn't matter the stat lines. It doesn't matter at all. But in a key moment in this game, which one of them is going to rise to the occasion and make that much needed save? Because two of these guys, they're both elite. And maybe the numbers this year for both of them haven't been where they wanted to be. Both guys have the ability to steal games for their team. And given that the Rangers' offense in front of Shesterkin has been a lot better than the Islanders have played overall together, you got to think that Sorokin's going to have to be the MVP of the game for the Islanders. But if they get a lead early, too, limit the pressure. If the structure stays compact enough, Sorokin might not have to be perfect tonight. But we'll see what happens when the game starts.
The game that I look back on was at UBS last year against the Rangers. The Rangers were dominating possession in that game. It was enough to make you scream, but they hadn't scored, or I forget exactly how it went. But the Islanders did score. They won the game.
Technical difficulties, guys. We just lost Stan. Give me 1 second. By the way, guys, Stan is in Israel right now. He's supposed to be coming in shortly. We'll try to get him back. But like I said, I'll take if we wait for Stan to get back, I'll take questions, comments, concerns. If you have them, usual pregame shows we do. I know it's crazy today with the weather. Just again, to give an update here. The game will start between 3:45 and 4 p.m. We're still waiting to find out more details about it, but we're going to get to Stan is back. Hold on 1 second, guys. Stan is coming back in here. Give us 1 second, guys. Perfect. Let's get Stan back in here. Like I said, guys, Stan is in Israel right now. So technology is always going to be a thing about until we get Stan back. Yeah, the latest right now is 3:45 to 4 p.m. start. In terms of the Islanders side of things, everybody is available. Hudson Fasching is available, but I don't think he's going to play tonight. The lineup as of practice of their day was the usual lineup. Barzal practiced, which is a positive sign, missing the last 2 practices. Got hurt. He said a minor injury against the Seattle Kraken, but the lines are going to be the usual. We'll see warmups probably. Again, we don't know what time warmups is going to be, right? Just because we haven't seen what time this game's going to start. Usually warmups are 30 minutes ahead of that, but we're expecting Anders Lee, Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, Pierre Engvall, Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri, Simon Holmstrom, John Gabriel Pajot, Oliver Wahlstrom, Matt Martin, Casey Zizekas, Cal Clutterbuck. Your defensive pairings are likely to be Romanov, Dobson, Pellick, Pulak, Mike Riley, Scott Mayfield, Ilya Sorokin will start. It sounds like Igor Shesterkin's going to start for the Rangers. Matt Rempe starting his first career game for the Rangers. Do you guys remember during preseason, actually Rempe fought Ross Johnson. Ross Johnson no longer with the Islanders club. He's expected and will make his NHL debut. He becomes the first player ever in NHL history for that to happen to. So we'll take questions, comments, trends. Like I said, guys, we'll try to get Stan back in here. If not, no worries. We will do a post-game show as well. Give me 1 second. No question. So we'll get to a couple of questions here, guys. We're just pulling them up. All right. The first question is, you think this game makes or breaks the Islanders season? Now, again, a loss would be tough. It's 3 straight losses, and depending on how they lose, if they come out and they're flat, I mean, that's just a very bad look for this team. Again, when Watt got here, it was Energizer Bunny the first week. Even though they were 1-2-1, right? They didn't win a lot of games, 500 hockey there, but at least the energy there. The effort was there. That was what was missing under Lane Lambert. But the last 2 games, the loss to Calgary, the loss to Seattle, I mean, those are games that kind of went back to that Lane Lambert kind of hockey, right? So tonight against the Rangers, you can't come out flat. I mean, it's the first Ranger-Islander game since December of 2022. They finished the end of the year there. So it's been a tough thing for the Islander fans to wait for them to play the Rangers, vice versa as well. And you cannot come out flat. But if they do lose this game, it's going to be tough for them. Again, they're falling out of it. They have to win points. Ryan Pulak said, Pellick said, they all said, we need these 2 points. And the Islanders have to do that. So I see Stan Fisher is back here. We'll get him back into the chat here. We got Stan Fisher back in here. Hey, Stan. Sorry I missed you there for a couple of seconds.
Hi.
Go for it, Stan.
I'm back. I don't know where Rosner is, but I'm looking at me.
All right, you're good. I am here. You could talk. I hear you.
Okay, what happened?
Yeah, technology, Stan. I mean, you're in Israel. It's a little far, and we're at MetLife. Oh, we lost Stan again. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to Stan Fisher, everybody. We're going to bring in Ethan Sears to talk about this game. Have him come sit next to me. Take the headphones off here for Ethan Sears.
Highly technological.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you guys want to welcome in Ethan Sears of New York Post here. And Ethan, it's a big game for the Islanders. We talk about the Rangers and Islanders. Both teams want to win, but what does this really do for the Islanders if they lose this one here?
Look, it's an absolutely huge game. You look at their deficit in the standings, and a little bit of it is games in hand, but you have to win the games you have in hand. There's, what is it now? I think a little over 3 weeks until the trade deadline, and they're below the playoff cut line. The other teams, the Flyers keep winning. The Red Wings are playing well. The Maple Leafs are playing well. The Islanders they need to keep pace with that pack. Otherwise, you're gonna just have to approach the trade deadline a little bit differently. And I think this sort of run of games they have coming up is where you really need to start thinking about that. So starting with today.
Yeah, and if you had to pick one player that you think, all right, the Islanders going to win.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri. Technology is
You are the
fantastic. You have to pick one player on the Islanders that if the Islanders are going to win, this player is going to be the reason why. Who are you picking?
For today, I think any game you have to start with Ilya Sorokin, right? I mean, everything he does in nets is so huge for this team. The Rangers, obviously, a strong offensive team, great power play. They're going to have their chances. And, for Sorokin to get back to, we've kind of talked in the past, right, about how that little bit of difference between, that he's been good this year versus last year. He was kind of out of this world. And it's a, 5% difference. And it's not at all to sort of blame anything on him because I do think he's played well this year. But, if they can get the 22-23 version of Sorokin down the stretch here, you are going to like their playoff chances a lot better.
Yeah, and we talked about Shesterkin too. I mean, he's a guy that struggled this year and coming in 7-2-1 record against the Islanders. But in terms of players in the Islanders, if you had to pick a player that maybe people don't expect to come through, but they do, who do you think the player is going to be?
That's a good question. Well,
Let's start with an O and end with a W.
That was where I was going. Yeah, I think Oliver Wahlstrom is someone who, he's kind of getting this extended chance under Patrick Waugh. They want to try to build his confidence. They want to try to build his game back up, and if they can start getting some results from that, it would be absolutely huge for them. Their bottom six hasn't really scored all year. And he's kind of the guy in there, along with maybe Simon Holmstrom, who you look at it and say, okay, there probably is some untapped scoring capability that they can find.
If you think about getting confidence, I think scoring in a outdoor game would be one for Oliver Wahlstrom. I guess looking at the back end too, we've talked so much about Noah Dobson, but really how important just is that Pelech-Kulak pairing, especially in a game like this where the Rangers are a very fast team, a very dominant team with a strong top six.
It's massive, and as much as Dobson and Romanov stepped up when the other two were out, since Pelech and Kulak have been back, they've taken kind of those top line matchups, and I would expect the same thing today. And they hadn't really played together all year, Pelech and Kulak, that is, before they got hurt. But that chemistry that they've always had, it's there, and they're capable, right? Patrick Waugh kind of instantly has that trust with them, and it's just absolutely huge for them to have the two of them back, to have them playing together, and it really, if there's anything that you can look at and say, okay, this is why their defense will be a little bit better in the second half of the season, that's probably why.
Last one here, we'll turn things off. Last one here, and then we'll get to some questions. Islanders practice 6 straight days. This is their 7th day on the ice. Does it help them or does it hurt them today?
Well, to me, that test is going to come in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It's, it's about how much energy do they have coming out. That was the problem against Seattle. It was the problem against Calgary a little bit. And you would have to think that there would be motivation, right? Obviously, a stage like this, it's a rivalry game. It's all of that, right? So, if they look a little bit tired legs, then, that's probably when you start to question, okay, was it a great idea to be out on the ice this many days in a row? But the other end of that, right, is you would hope that there was some motivational effect there.
Appreciate it so much for joining us, Ethan. Thanks so much.
You bet.
Ethan, cheers, everybody. Do a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap this things up. So I know there's people asking about the time. Again, the last thing that let me check the handy-dandy phone here. The last time that I had was 3:45 to 4 o'clock, or it could be a little after 4. Now, again, the sun's still an issue. That seems to be what's going on here. But if you're here right now, definitely stay warm. Get inside if you can. Drink heavily. I think that usually helps. But, yeah, I do appreciate the question from Twitter, Tiki Klein. Yeah, as it progresses here, I'll definitely provide an update on the times that we do get. The hope is that it starts at 4 or 5. I guess the good news is that there will be hockey. There is a lot of wind out there as well. Here's another question, how the sun affects the goalies now. Johnny Lazarus of the Daily Faceoff asked Patrick Waugh this question, and he said it doesn't affect too much. It's more about just looking at the puck. I know last night there was wind that was issuing and it was dark, which makes it a lot more difficult to do. But it seems like with the sun, as long as the glare is not, the sun should really be behind the arena. The glare shouldn't be too bad. And for Sorokin, it's just keep your eye on that puck. It's the black thing up there on the ice. Just follow it around. Again, though, the Islanders have to make it easy for Sorokin to track the puck. Today, screens are going to be huge for both goalies. If there is a sun going to be an issue, and the wind, just getting bodies in front of the goaltenders will make things a lot tougher. So with that, guys, I'm going to check for a few more questions on Twitter. If not, no worries here, and we will wrap this thing up. Let's see. Yeah, so again, right now, guys, just want to repeat, 3:45 to 4 o'clock is what I'm being told. Could be a little bit after that. I know there's a big announcement also coming in intermission, so stay tuned from that from the NHL. But with that, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. The first episode of the Elmonters live show. We are going to be doing a lot of videos with former Islanders, past Islanders, players from around the NHL, past and present. Stan Fisher will be doing it. I'll be doing it. It's going to be really cool to get you a great one-on-ones with these guys who help change the game, whether it's old guys that are legends for the Islanders or players that played just a little bit for New York or around the NHL, and also community initiatives, going to Learn to Skates, where Trottier and Nystrom are showing up. We'll try to take you inside everything. What's going on at UBS Arena? What's going to look like over in the development area? What maybe aerial drone shots of things going on? How ice is made at UBS? We're going to dive into everything that Islander fans want, and you'll catch us on the Elmonters YouTube. It'll be all over social media. Really appreciate you guys tuning into this first episode. If you are here, stay warm. Enjoy Islanders Rangers Stadium Series game. Again, supposed to be 3 o'clock. That will not happen. But if you're at home and watching, congrats that you're in the warmth. But definitely stay tuned, guys. We really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll chat later.